Okay, if you could describe Donald Trump in one English word, what would it be?
Fuck off.
What's going on, guys? Drew Hernandez here with Lives Matter. I'm here in Washington, D.C. in the Black Lives Matter Plaza. We're going to interview some people, see what's on their mind. Is Joe Biden really the candidate for the black community right now with some of the ridiculous comments he's making? Let's ask some people what they really think. But before we begin, I am extremely deboosted, you guys, on YouTube. I don't monetize anymore. If you guys would like to support me, you could support me with a one-time donation or support me monthly on Patreon. The donate links are in the description below. Let's see what happens. Joe Biden is running for the Democrats, Donald Trump, the Republicans. 2020, who's your man?
I think Joe Biden probably.
Why?
I think he's a good man for the job.
You know, Joe Biden was interviewed by Charlamagne Tha God, one of the most influential black radio commentators right now in my generation. And he was interviewing Joe Biden, and Joe Biden literally told him and millions of black people, if you can't choose between me or Donald Trump, then you ain't black. How does that make you feel?
Not good, you know.
Like, do you think it's appropriate for a presidential candidate to tell black people that if you can't choose for yourself, you're pretty much not a black person?
No. He should have left it to the person to choose who he wants.
So, I mean, is that really someone that's ready for the job? To be your president?
Maybe not.
What does your sign mean?
It's just what it says.
What does it mean to you?
It says Trump is basically the perfect demonstration of an idiot.
You clearly dislike Donald Trump, right?
Oh yeah.
What would you say is the number one thing or policy that you completely disagree with?
Disgusting racist. That's what I think.
Can you cite any instances where he's said anything racist or any racist policy since he's been president?
Oh yeah, the security. Just sending people out here. You heard about what he did, 3 weeks ago? Yeah, he sent people out here to antagonize. The police have been here. They've settled down. Since the police have settled down, you see people have settled down. They just want to get their message across. It's not about anything but that. But he sends people out to antagonize. He hates this whole movement.
So what would you...
Minorities. He hates people that are struggling. He wants to give everything to the corporations.
So you think Donald Trump hates minorities?
I think he hates everybody who isn't filthy rich and hasn't supported his campaign. It's pretty clear.
Gotcha. So what would you say about the First Step Act that actually helped hundreds of black families be reunited that commit petty crimes and expedited their sentencing and actually lowered their sentencing to let them actually be reunited and be plugged back into society again? Don't you think that that's kind of going against anything that's racist?
Recent and extremely late compared to everything he said on the campaign trail and the things that he's ignored completely, like the virus. I think that's another thing. But yeah, no, I don't think there's any secret that Trump is a racist and that he hates anyone that falls into the mid to lower tiers of finance in this country.
Would you know? A lot of people say that Donald Trump is a Nazi. Would you agree with that?
He has the potential. I would say that.
Why?
Because he wants to have complete dominance. He wants corporations to control the country. Just basically. I mean, to me, that's what the Republicans have always been. They're like fascism. It's right-wing ideology, and it's only a few steps over from Republicans.
If Donald Trump was a Nazi, why would Israel literally name a geographical location in his honor in the Golan Heights? The Jews.
I didn't hear about that. That's a trip.
You know, his Donald Trump's daughter Ivanka is married to a Jew, Jared Kushner. If he was a white nationalist and a Nazi, how could that even be a reality?
He's exploited it. That's all. I seriously don't believe that there is anyone in this administration with an ounce of belief other than anything regarding money and power.
Joe Biden, Donald Trump. Who's your man for 2020?
I feel like the goal is to get Trump out of office. I'm not going to say Joe Biden is my guy, but the goal is to get Trump out of office.
So what would be the solution to that if you don't vote for Biden? How would one get Trump out of office?
Well, I definitely would probably still vote for Joe, but like I said, he's not my number one candidate, I guess you would say. But at the same time, the main goal is to get Trump out of office.
Do you think a man like Joe Biden represents the black community when he tells Charlamagne Tha God on the Breakfast Club that if you can't choose, telling black people, if you can't choose between me or Trump, you're not black?
No, at all. That's a disrespectful comment, and I don't think he was thinking when he said it. I think he was trying to please the people, and he did a bad job of that.
Honestly, bro, how do you think the culture would have reacted if Donald Trump would have said that?
They probably would have flipped, man. It would be a whole different script. I mean, they got on Joe for it, but he's in the Democratic Party, and like I said, the goal is to get Trump out of office. So, I mean, you got to start somewhere, you know what I mean?
Do you think that Donald Trump is completely opposed to the black community in the USA?
I don't think he's completely opposed to it. I just think his ideas are racist to all minorities, not just the black community. I feel that his ideas and policies are pretty much just towards the Republicans and the rich. He wants the butterfly effect to happen and to trickle down to the poor, but it's not that case.
If that were true, have you heard of the First Step Act?
The First Step Act, refresh my memory.
Donald Trump signed an executive order, the First Step Act, that actually helped black communities and black families, people that are incarcerated for petty crimes, to shorten their sentences and allow black families to reunite and actually plug back into society by the hundreds and even thousands. Even Van Jones, a total anti-Trumper on CNN, backed Trump up with that. And even the leader of Black Lives Matter in Greater New York actually thanked Trump for that because it helped the black community. Do you think that's racist?
Well, everybody has their own opinion. I'm not going to call it racist necessarily. But at the same time, I mean, like I said, everybody has their own opinion towards it. So, I mean, it is what it is, I suppose.
I mean, if Trump did something that helped black people, couldn't we at least give him some little bit of credit? Like one sprinkle, bro.
Most definitely. He's a human being. I had no problems with him before any of this, you know what I mean? I feel like him becoming president, it kind of brought out everything that he didn't want to bring brought out to the public, you know? Everybody knew him as the apprentice guy and the you're fired guy, but now that he stepped into politics and put a target on his back, he has to know what he's talking about when he's talking about the culture and things of that nature.
Can you imagine if this was like White Lives Matter Plaza? Like, can you imagine, bro? Like these buildings would be burnt. You know what I mean? It would be like a scene out of hell. That's what it would be. That's what it would be. Do you love Donald Trump?
No.
Why?
I think he's not normal.
Give me one reason why you think Donald Trump's not normal.
I don't know. That's words, but
Okay, if you could describe Donald Trump in one English word, what would it be?
fuck off.
2020, Joe Biden, Donald Trump. Who's your man? Not like your boyfriend, you know, like you know what I'm saying.
Joe Biden, 100%. You can't vote for Trump. If you're voting for Trump, you're supporting racism, xenophobia, like misogynistic, like it's just clear Biden. Like you can't vote for Trump. Like it doesn't matter policies. This is all about humanity and morals and making sure that we get rid of this totalitarian regime, low-key.
Gotcha. Like honestly, and I got to ask you this because a lot of people are saying this. Joe Biden was interviewed by Charlamagne Tha God, one of the most influential radio commentators, black influential radio commentators in America. And he asked him, Charlamagne asked Joe Biden, you know, his policies and what he was doing. And towards the end of the interview, Joe Biden literally told black America, if you can't intellectually choose between me or the other guy, you ain't black. What kind of statement is that?
I don't think that's a good statement at all. I think he's trying to. I'm not going to support his statement. I don't agree with it. I don't think it's okay for him to say, like, you know, you aren't your own race because you support whatever policies. Like, that's not okay to do at all. So I don't support that. But I do think that Donald Trump has a history of.
Let me ask you this, and be honest, okay? You got to be honest.
Okay.
What would you think would happen if Donald Trump were to have said that?
I think.
You got to be honest.
If I think he'd be chastised, but he's also said 20 billion times worse things. Like, he called people that, like, immigrants from Mexico, rapists, criminals, thugs. Like, the amount of, like, words that he attaches to people of color in this country is disgraceful. And
He did say some, not all, and he said, like, the cartels and the drug dealers and the people that are murdering and raping women, that's what they do in Mexico. Even other Mexicans, they do it too. That's who he was talking about.
Well, we don't know specifically because he didn't, like, he made an offhand comment to the entire community. So
Do you honestly think Joe Biden is the right guy? I mean, making comments like that?
I mean, yeah. I mean, like, I don't support his comments. I don't at all. I don't agree with them. But I do think that Joe Biden can bring around some sustainable change. Now, he's not the best candidate. We know that. Like, you know, like, every candidate has their flaws, but, you know, some of them I don't agree with. You know, I don't agree with a lot of Joe Biden's flaws. But I do think that when, you know, comparing both of the candidates and comparing their character and morals and just demeanor too as well on the national platform, I think it's polar opposites, with Joe Biden being.
Do you think that Donald Trump is racist against black people?
Yes.
Why?
Well, if you look at his policies and the way that he talks about people of color, he calls them thugs. I'm trying to think of specifics, but I don't think he has any respect for people of color.
You mentioned policy, right?
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of the First Step Act?
No.
The First Step Act was an executive order signed by Donald Trump that actually helped hundreds, thousands of black people in black communities that were actually suffering from petty crimes, that were given harsh sentences, to actually expedite their sentences, to have them reunite with their families and jack back into society. And even people like Van Jones, that are total anti-Trumpers, actually supported that. And even one of the leaders of Black Lives Matter in Greater New York actually said thank you to Donald Trump for doing that, for helping black communities. Do you think that a racist would do something like that?
I think that that's one policy. Like, that's only one act.
A lot of people accuse Donald Trump of being a Nazi. Would you agree or disagree with that?
Yes.
Why?
I think that, actually, I don't even think that. Like, I know that, like, he has just shown no disregard for anyone. Yesterday, we had the highest amount of coronavirus cases to this date, like, statistics, like, in this country. And what did he do? He went golfing. Like, that's facts. Like, that's just what it is. Like, you know, like, I think I don't like to use the word Nazi because, like, you know, like, well, actually, I don't know. I guess you could call him a Nazi. I just think he's an immoral person.
You know, the epitome of Nazism is anti-Semitism. Adolf Hitler wanted to wipe out Jews off the face of the planet, right? My question is, did you know that Israel, a couple years ago, literally named a geographical location in the Golan Heights after Donald Trump? Yeah. If Trump was a Nazi, why are Jews naming geographical locations in Israel after him in his honor?
Well, as a Jew, I'm Jewish myself, and I can say that half my family lives in Israel right now, and I understand that Donald Trump has been very supportive of Israel, which is good, but also to a fault. Like, I think that with the crisis going on with Israel and Palestine, like, you know, Israel isn't you know, the victim here. Like, they're also the aggressor, and I think Donald Trump has tried to make allies with Israel, which is, like, helping Israel, but also, like, helping them to a fault. And
so would a Nazi do that?
A Nazi,
like a real Nazi that believes in Aryan bloodlines, anti-Semitism, the epitome, Adolf Hitler, Joseph Goebbels, all those guys, Heinrich Himmler.
Can I ask, are you you a Trump supporter? Is that why you're asking me these questions?
I just want your opinion.
Well, I'm asking your opinion too. What do you think?
I support Trump, yeah.
What? How? How are you supporting Trump with the police brutality, with like the horrible comments? Like, how do you not see that he's what's everything wrong with America? He doesn't condemn white supremacists, but he condemns protesters. Like, where is...
Are you talking about Charlottesville?
I'm talking about Charlottesville. I'm talking about literally all the tons of acts and him not denouncing any of like the groups. But yeah, I'm talking about Charlottesville.
Do you really want to know why I support Trump?
Yeah, sure, yeah.
Well, number one, as a Hispanic, I support Trump because I'm a Christian. So he has probably been, in the 21st century, the most pro-life president that we've ever seen in a very long time. Number two, when it comes to religious freedom, he is completely supportive of religious freedom, not only in the USA, and he has so many policy to back it up, not only here in the United States, but even foreign and abroad, backing up Christians in different countries. And lastly, to be honest with you, the border security issue in 2016 is what won me over to be a Trump supporter, because the border issue and open borders, what Hillary Clinton wanted, was going to hurt even more Hispanics. There are Hispanics, little girls, that are raped up to 45 times in one day because of the open border policies. And Donald Trump wanted to put an end to that as well. That's what was on his agenda. And as a Hispanic person, I don't like the idea of open borders because that means more Mexican little girls being raped and dragged over the border against their will, and that's a fact. So that's why I support Donald Trump.
Okay, well, I respect that. I think that, I don't want little girls to be raped. No one does. Like, that's just. But
I would say that's the number one reason why I support the wall, to combat human trafficking.
Well, it's not going to do anything.
It does. It did in Arizona.
Okay.
Like, these are little girls that get raped, like, up to 45 times a day.
I understand. Like, I am studying to be a sexual assault prosecutor. Like, that's what I want to do. So, like, I completely get that, but I don't think Donald Trump's policies are helping America whatsoever. And I think that, open borders, yeah, that is a problem. Human trafficking is a problem, and we need to be able to support victims that are dragged into human trafficking. Like, it's a national epidemic. It's but I think that, like, first of all, open borders would help with well, are you aware that Donald Trump also is putting children in cages? Like, you're really concerned about victims of human trafficking, which is a huge problem, but also, like, we're caging like little baby immigrants in our country and deporting their parents and leaving them all by themselves, trapped up in cages. Like, the media surrounding that was very evident. Like, tons of children are living in terrible...
But how come Donald Trump's being blamed for something that's been happening since the Bill Clinton administration? That's been happening.
I'm not sure about that, but...
It has. It happened under Clinton, it happened under Bush, it happened under Obama, and Donald Trump is just, it's happening under... That's a fact, yes, it was.
Well, I'm not sure. I do got to get going, though, because
Okay, thank you. It's 2020, big election coming up. Joe Biden, Donald Trump, who's your man? Not like your boyfriend, but you know what I'm saying.
Well, the answer is if Biden has the nomination, he's who's going to get my vote, but I sure as shit don't have to be happy about it.
Joe Biden was interviewed by Charlamagne Tha God, right, on The Breakfast Club, one of the most influential radio commentators, black radio commentators of our generation, right? And Joe Biden literally told him, if you can't choose intellectually between me or Donald Trump, then you ain't black. What is that?
That's shitty old white dude racism, plain and simple.
So do you think that Joe Biden, does that represent the black community?
Absolutely not. I cannot in good conscience not vote either, because that is throwing away the only real weapon I have at that level. Like, there's no reason. I mean, I'm voting locally. I'm here. I'm talking to my relatives and friends and family, and it's a really shitty position to be in. It's very much like I'm not going to say rock in a hard place. It's more like dumpster fire in a hard place. So I absolutely acknowledge that it is not the moral choice, so to speak. I just feel like it's the only other choice.
Lesser of two evils, in your opinion?
Yeah, pretty much exactly that.
Gotcha. I wanted to know as well your opinion. With Joe Biden and the election coming up right now, with what he's saying, do you think that really represents the black community?
Absolutely not, under zero circumstances.